Well, hello, everyone. All two of you who are here so far. We'll have more people joining us pretty soon, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so I just wanted to say hi to everybody and welcome to the not Monday night live stream. It is, Danny Staten's here with us. And I'll say hi to everybody in the chat in just a second here. But it's a Tuesday night, but unfortunately, I was going to do it on Monday night, but I got detained. I hate how dark my circle is right there. Oh my gosh, I look like somebody punched me in the eye. Good night. Um, we're going to talk tonight, obviously, on live chat. We let everybody in the comments kind of, regulate the show to some degree or another, but I always have like a show idea that I want to talk about. And I thought the show idea for tonight would be things that we wish we could bring back from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And there are so many things that I wish I could bring back from that era and from those decades. Probably at the forefront of my mind is music. I'll talk to about that in just a second here. Just want to say hi to a few people who are here. Let's see. Jennifer is here. And she says, hey, well, hello, Jennifer. It is so nice to have you here. It's nice to be your friend as well. I know you from other places as well. And it's really nice to have you here with us. And of course, our friend Lance Chafin is here. And I just want to say hi to Lance Chafin as well. And let's see. Let's see. Lance Chafin. Well, if he says hi, I'll say hi back. Hey, Lance. I see there's some back and forth going back on there. And he actually said to hit the like button. Hit that like button. Lance, I couldn't agree with you more. My friend, hit that like button, please, everybody. And of course, my good friend Danny Staten is here. Greetings, Danny, from the Carolinas. And Danny, have you been Bigfoot hunting lately? I don't know if you have or haven't, but I'd love to hear more about your excursions into the Bigfoot area. And look who else is here. Emily Miller. How you doing, Emily? She says, hi, y'all. Hi, Emily. And Tracy Rothmeyers is here. And she says, hi, friends. How are you, Tracy? Got big old hearts for both of you. All righty. So anyway, tonight's episode, I got to get Thrash back on. I haven't been in contact with him in a little while. He needs to be, monitoring the comments so I can kind of bloviate, as it were, on my thoughts and things like that. But I'm going to try to keep up with both the chats and my thoughts, which, it's like chewing gum and walking at the same time. Doesn't always work out well for me. I fall quite a bit. But anyway, I thought about, what would we bring back? And I want to hear from you guys. I mean, what is it you would bring back? And let me just talk for just a minute. Because what I thought about myself personally was I thought about music. And I thought about the fact that music is so, like, you can appreciate music from any generation, but unless you kind of lived in that generation, it's difficult to know the impact that the music had when it arrived. And I thought about this because I was alive during kind of two music revolutions. I was alive, but I was young in one of them, and I was well into my adulthood in the other one. And the first one was new wave music. And I love new wave music. I mean, it's one of my favorite genres of music. And I was there when new wave came out, but I was really young, so I couldn't appreciate the impact that it had. I was well alive before MTV came out, but I was just kind of coming into my own, as a young kid watching MTV. And the reason why it was called New Wave is because the first wave was the British wave of music, with the Beatles and Herman's Hermit and all those bands that came across the pond from there. But there was this new, but MTV had just come out, and really what happened is that the Brits were making better music videos, And so because they made better music videos, they started to being played more on this new broadcast called MTV. And that's why it was called New Wave. It was the new wave of the British invasion. And I remember, being alive when that was going on, but I didn't really remember the impact that it had. I remember appreciating it, but I was too young, really. But as I got older, I was alive during the grunge revolution, or the rise of alternative rock, which I was, as you know, if you're fans of the channel, you know that I'm well on board with. I mean, like really, really well on board with. I love alternative rock. It's my favorite genre of music. But it led me to think about the fact that, because there's a couple moving parts here, so stay with me if I'm a little scatterbrained. I apologize. I talk to children now, like kids, not children, but like teenagers and 20-year-olds who are all kids to me at this point. And they talk about like how they like Nirvana. And I'm like, I'm glad you like Nirvana, but you like you weren't there to see the revolution that it brought about, or this new emphasis on music that it brought about. And it is just like a little bit crazy, because it's like I'm so glad this younger generation still likes and appreciates Nirvana, but they'll never really be able to be there, if you know what I mean, like when it hit and when it changed everything. And it makes me think about like the first revolution, like the first the first British invasion of the Beatles. Like, I'll never be able to be there for the Beatles and how it hit. I'll never be able to experience the impact. I could extrapolate because of the the experiences that I've had now as I've gotten older, but I can't be there for the magnitude that it must have held for those people. So anyway, I would love to bring back new wave. We can't say we can bring back alternative or punk, because alternative and punk are still alive. But if there's one genre of music that I think kind of has gone away, it's really new wave. There's a little bit of new wave flavor in bands like the Killers, but for the most part, it's gone away. So I would like to hear what you would like to bring back, is not to mention all the Star Wars toys. Boy, I'd like to bring back the Star Wars toys. Let's see. I'm going to scroll back a little bit. I see people saying hi and hey y'all. And let's see if anybody has any comments on whether or not what they would like to bring back. 80s music. Now that's a big genre, Lance. So I'd have to know specifically what you'd like to bring back about 80s music. I mean, what genre or bands or whatever would you like to bring back? Oh, this is back and forth here. And I don't know what that symbol is. My flock. Hi. Well, hi. I'm glad you can join us for this evening's talk, or whatever it is, live stream. And I'm glad you're here. So glad to be talking with you this evening. So, and then someone says, hey, Sarah. So did I miss somebody here? Hey, Sarah. Somebody. So I don't know. My thing says, hey, and it's picking up on that. So I got to turn that off. All righty. Let's see here. I would like to know what you would bring back. And Jennifer writes, oh, let's see. Emily, first of all, writes, I'm not sure I have a favorite genre of music. I listen to just about everything. I listen to just about everything too. But I mean, like, it's kind of interesting because, like, I'm not terribly a heavy metal fan, but I listen to heavy metal when I run and I enjoy it there and I enjoy the musicianship of it. But I just really enjoy alternative rock myself. And Lance Chafin writes, me too, Emily. And Jennifer writes, yep, exactly. Not sure what you're saying exactly about, but yep, exactly. I'm glad you agree. And Devo Whippet, Lance Chafin writes. Devo Whippet. Oh, a flock of seagulls. Yes, I love a flock of seagulls. And I run, run. Yes, okay. All right. Lance Chafin writes, Ian Tugg says hi, but he's busy. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad he actually said hi. Well, thank you, Tugg. Say hi back for me. And Tracy writes, well, I miss the rhythm and blues bands of the 80s. I have no real beef against rap, but nothing sounds better than some singing from their heart. Yeah. Yeah, I don't I'm not really, I mean, like, I like blues, but like I don't really know a lot of like blues bands except for like the way blues influenced heavy metal. There was a band out called Junkyard Dog. I don't know if you've heard of it. It was a heavy metal band, but they were seriously blues oriented. And I just really super enjoyed the blues that came from that band. And I like blues, but it's like I don't know, I just don't know enough about it, unfortunately. But I do like singing from the heart. I mean, I do like that, like singing from the heart. And that's why I like a lot of I don't know, alternative rock, because it was a lot of like singing from the heart kind of music. I'm just gonna take my hat off. My hair's a mess. I normally wear a hat to like conceal the messiness of my hair, but who gives a crap, right? All right, it's my show. No, I'm just kidding. It's all of our shows. And let's see. Danny Staten writes, Lance, do you have to start drama in every chat? All right, this is back and forth stuff. I'm not going to get involved. That's between you all. And Emily writes, I agree, Tracy, but you got to give Eminem some props. Love Eminem. The thing about Eminem that I really enjoy about Eminem, and I agree with you, Emily. I mean, I'm not like a huge rap fan. I've gotten to respect it more as I've gotten older, especially like some of the older rap, like Run DMC and Beastie Boys and stuff. Of course, Beastie Boys started off as a punk band. But one of the things I really like about Eminem is like it was like everybody liked it. It was like he was one of those musicians that I mean, he was so good. You couldn't deny how good he was. He was really good. To me, he was like the Nirvana of rap music, because when Nirvana broke, you had people like PM Dawn and REM and all people all across the aisle saying, hey, we really like Nirvana. And I feel the same thing kind of happened with Eminem. I mean, he was just so good that everybody enjoyed his music, and I give him lots of props. Madness, Our House. Yes, great song. Our House in the Middle of the Street. And Emily and Tracy writes, love Eminem. Good to hear it. Oh, Stone Roses. Yes, the Stone Roses. I bought their album when they were popular and gave it a listen. I liked it. A little kind of the mellow, that little mellow rock there. Yes, I enjoyed the Stone Roses. Thank you for throwing that one in there, Jennifer. And let's see. Emily writes, Bowie has a lot of from the heart music. Oh, for sure. Bowie has a lot of from the heart music. I love Bowie. Pioneer. I mean, everything Bowie does is great. And let's see. Eminem. And then, yeah, you're right. Eminem crossed race boundaries. Yes, he did. And Jennifer writes, Eminem's talent is undeniable no matter what you like to listen to. Yes, his talent is absolutely undeniable. And Tracy writes, love Nirvana with a big heart sign behind it. Yes, absolutely love Nirvana. Is there anything else from the 70s, 80s, 90s that you like to bring back? We kind of started out with music. I mean, we could talk about music all night long because I love music. But is there anything else from the 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s, that Generation X period that you could bring back? You know, I'll tell you this, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with streaming. And here's why. Because streaming is so awesome because like you can binge watch shows now, right? You can binge watch them. But at the same time, it takes the anticipation out of it. It takes that specialness away from gathering around the television and being there when the show was actually on. We all grew up in a generation where if you weren't there, you missed it, and later, VCRs came out they came out in the 70s, but I mean, they really became a household product in the 80s. And if you were smart, unlike me, you could actually program it to film things and then watch later. I was never ever that smart. And I was late to get everything. We were late to get a microwave. We were late to get everything. We were late to get a VCR. And I still remember renting VCRs. But I remember, I remember some people had the ability to record things, and I didn't have the ability to record things, and they would watch it later. But if you weren't like that, I mean, my VCR just flashed 12 all the time when I finally got one. That's all it ever did. I couldn't even program the clock on the darn thing. So I just remember some people had the ability to record things and I couldn't, and they could watch it later and fast forward through the commercials. But, Wizard of Oz used to come on once a year. And so I used to just be there when Wizard of Oz came on. And now streaming's out and you can watch any show you want to watch at any time. And it's great because, like I said, you can binge watch programs. But at the same time, there's no anticipation. There's no what's going to happen next week on the program. And also what has happened in binge watching, for me at least, is shows kind of become a little bit, especially television shows, become a little bit mundane. You get the same story every week, and you didn't really realize it until you were able to binge watch. Anyway, let's see what people are saying. Let's see. Jennifer writes, Eagles. You wish you could bring the Eagles back. Well, one of the founding members has passed away, at least one of them, and that was Glenn Fry, I think. So I wish we could bring him back as well. And let's look at this. A Safe Childhood. Yeah, safe. I remember just being, my rule was at my house was that you had to be home. My mom had this rule. I had to be home when the street lights came on. If I was out past the street lights, which made it really tough in winter, but in summertime, I mean, I was just gone on my bike and with friends and stuff like that. And so, anyway, yeah. So, a safe childhood, leaving your keys in the car, not worrying about somebody stealing your car. There's all kinds of things that has happened, that I remember growing up being able to do. And Ian, going off topic, is it still cold up in Utah? So, Tracy, I live in southern Utah, my dear. And so southern Utah, where I am, is more like Arizona and Nevada. And so we don't get the cold weather here. And that's actually really strange because a lot of people ask me that. They say, because I tell people when I moved to Tennessee, people are like, oh, you should be used to cold weather. I'm like, I am not. I am a desert rat. It is not the same here at all. I'm as far away from the snow as anybody. Actually, I'm not far away, but for some reason, and I don't know, scientists better than myself would know the reason, but about 15 or 20 miles from where I am right now, it like changes. Like even if you're driving in snow and you're driving down, it like the weather changes, the snow stops and everything. So it's actually pretty warm here. It was, I think, 80 degrees here today, actually. So it was a pretty warm day. So the snow and stuff kind of all happens to the north of me. We're more like Vegas or something like that. So yeah, it's basically hot here, not cold. And because my stock, my ilk, as it were, comes from Southern California, I don't really go up north that much to really like to talk to like my family's not up there. I have a couple friends up there, but that's about it. So like I don't really keep contact with the north of Utah. So I more or less like all my stuff is to the south, and then now with friends in Nashville to the east. So I wouldn't even know how it is. But right here now, it's actually warm, except for, you notice I'm wearing a sweater, and this is a killer shirt right here, by the way. Look at that shirt, Mos Eisley tattooing my Star Wars shirt. The reason why it's cold is my family keeps it freezing in this house. So if I go outside, I got to strip off this jacket. But if I'm inside, I actually got to kind of keep it cold. Or I'm actually cold, sorry. All right, let's see here. Food like Kimbler's mini middles. So yum. I don't know. I know there's a lot of food that I would like to bring back as well, but I'm not familiar with that food, Lance. And Jennifer writes, playing outside until dark. Yes, absolutely. And then you write, oh, Tracy, I'm sorry, my mom and dad. Well, if I could bring them back too, I'd bring back your mom and your dad, and of course I'd bring back my late wife as well, as you all know about. And then let's see. Jennifer writes, Dad was a tech geek, so we got to watch and record a lot. Well, that's good. I'm glad somebody was. I wasn't. And S'mores Crunch cereal, chocolate coated graham cereal with mini marshmallows. Yes, I remember that cereal as well. I did enjoy myself a good bowl of cereal. And Lance Chafin writes, the buffet in Pizza Hut with the red glasses. Yeah, the red. Yeah, I remember that as well. That was good stuff. Are pizza buffets not a thing anymore? I thought they were still kind of a thing, but it's been a while since I've been there. So, and let's see. And Danny Staten writes, I'm rewatching the Wild Wild West complete series. I'm nearing the end of season 2. Oh yeah, the Wild Wild West. Yeah, that was good. That was one of my favorite Westerns of all time. And Emily writes, childhood was no more safe when we were growing up. We just heard less about the bad stuff. Well, that's an interesting point. I mean, I do think we hear more. That's for sure. But I don't know. I guess I just remember feeling safer, maybe. And maybe it was a delusion on my part. I can't tell you. But you bring up a very interesting point, Emily. The affordable prices. Oh, Meryl, thank you for joining us today on the program. Don't get me into economics, please. You're opening a door that I don't want to have open. But I get it. But at the same time, like, money was worth more back then. Like I hear this a lot from people, like, oh, I used to be able to go to the movie on a dime. I'm like, yeah, but you worked all day for that dime, you know? So I don't know if it's relative. And I think to some degree that it is, and maybe some degree that it isn't. I think we kind of I think we kind of get into this idea like, oh, I remember going to the movie, or or going to buy groceries, and and it's like it was like $4.50 for a loaf of bread and a 6 pack of cola and this and that. But at the same time, the minimum wage was also like 320, 375. So I don't know if it's relative or not. And if I'm not seeing it correctly, then please by all means correct me. Friday night at the mall and arcades. Oh, Lance, you hit on some gold there, man. Arcades, man, arcades were the best. I loved arcades. Malls are still a thing, but as people kind of buy more online, I think malls are diminishing in their popularity. But certainly, I think that arcades. I mean, just going in and putting your quarters in and playing arcade games. Jennifer writes, I'm blessed enough to be able to leave my keys in the car at home right now, but I know that's rare anymore. Yeah, it is rare. Good for you. I'm glad you live in a community where that's the case. Um, uh, and then Lance Chafin writes that he won the entire Twilight Zone DVD set from Tug's channel. Yeah, that's right. I remember you saying that. And then let's see. Emily Miller writes, I'm an North Carolina native, but I'm pretty sure I'm a displaced Southern California girl. You might be. Yeah, I mean, you might be. You give off a good Southern California vibe. As somebody from Southern California, seeing your posts on Facebook and just knowing you from the way I've known you, I would say you certainly do give off a Southern California vibe. And Lance Trayson writes, my loved ones as well miss my parents. Yeah, I'm sorry you miss your parents as well. And Meryl writes, good, thank you for asking. Oh, well, he's back and forth here. Lance Chafin writes, CC's and Pizza Ranch. And Pizza Ranch. I guess that's a chain. I've never heard of Pizza Ranch. I've heard of CC's. I've never actually been to CC's. But I do remember the pizza bars at Godfather's and at Pizza Hut. Emily, the cereal sounds so naughty, but I'm sure it was good. Oh, believe me, it was naughty with a capital N. Emily writes, OMG, I hated CC's Pizza. I will have to take your word for it because I've never actually been to CC's Pizza. So I'm sure it was anytime you go to a buffet, I mean, quite honestly, anytime you go to a buffet, you're going to get to some degree substandard food. So, I mean, you're going to get like the cheapest, most, base ingredients that there is. And I know what CC's is. Don't misunderstand me. I just never have been there before. So I'm going to guess that the CC's wasn't great. But if you like food, I mean, if you like pizza, you might like CC's regardless. And then, oh yes, it was delicious, Tracy. Yes. And then Lance asks why. I'm sure it's like why you hated CC's Pizza. That's what he's talking about here. And Meryl writes, thanks for the invite. Okay, I don't know. You're welcome. I don't know if you're talking to me or somebody else. And this might need some explanation. Molly. The only thing I know about Molly is Molly Ringwald and Molly the drug. So I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Do you miss doing Molly? Like, or I don't know, whatever. Or do you like miss like Molly Ringwald? I'm not sure what you meant. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Sorry. Anyway, oh, let's see. It always made me sick for some reason. All right. Oh, okay. The pizza, I'm sure. And Danny Staten writes, LOL, when I started smoking, a pack of smokes was 75 cents. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was cheaper back then. Yeah. It was definitely cheaper that. And White Castle. Well, White Castle's still around. White Castle's still here. Jennifer writes, 165 minimum wage. You could have a home in early 60s. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. I don't really remember 165 being the minimum wage, at least not where I was. When I entered the workforce, I remember it was like 375. That's when I entered the workforce. And I entered the workforce at 14. I was a cook at a rest home. So and I remember it being 375, and I was on cloud 9. I thought this was great. I was 14. I didn't have any bills to pay. So I was just like, and I got my first check, and I'm like, I'm buying everybody pizza tonight. I thought it was great. One of the first things that I did, though, I remember it being around Christmas, and I bought my mother a Christmas gift. And I felt really good about that because I got her, it was the first time like I was able to actually buy her a gift. And I got her a bracelet, like with some Indian stones on it and stuff like that. So that was like the first thing that I did with my very first check that I got, was bought her a bracelet. I don't know why I brought that up. Anyway, all right. The CEOs won't give up on their huge profit margins. That's why prices skyrocket. Yes, in every generation or in every era, in every one. That is why prices skyrocket. As I do believe that. I do agree with that. Inflation is real. It is real. It is definitely real. I could live like a queen for $20 in the 80s. I do remember that. But I mean, again, I think what I'm saying is like, but it was like, it still like cost like, I don't know what I'm saying. I guess I'm stupid. All right, let's see here. Friday night at the movies. Well, you can still do that. Still Friday night at the movies. We don't have to, that isn't anything that needs to be brought back. You got that going on. Galaga and Pole Position. Oh, yeah. Video games. I love Pole Position. I loved Galaga too. Galaga, I think, is the one where they had the little like barriers and your ship was underneath it and you shot across it. I'm not sure, but I thought it was about Galaxa, but you might have mistyped it, or I might have misremembered it. But at one time, my mom was working at a laundromat, and it had video games at the laundromat because everywhere you went had video games. And for some reason, it was just on constant play. And I finally got to play as much as I ever wanted to play that one. I don't know the name of it, but it's the one where the ship's underneath it and the bad guys kind of come down like this, like that. And then you've got these barriers, which they shoot down at. And I'm not sure the name of it, but I got to do that one. It was a blast. And Meryl writes, yes, White Castle. No crime in my area. We all have big guns. Good for you. I actually went and delivered pizza at a house one night and at the door, I was knocked on the door. It had this guy's personal groupings, like the thing you shoot at the gun range. It had his personal groupings on the wall there, and above it, it said, "Nothing in this house is worth dying for. We're well armed." And I'm like, that's cool. I knocked on the door. I told him, I said, "Hey, I like your groupings there." And he like brought me in and like showed me all his guns. He was like, "Here, handle this." He's like, see the weight of that thing. And I'm like, okay, all right. He's showing me like all his stuff. And I'm like, I think it's so funny because you go to the Verizon store and you can't even like pick the phone up. You're connected to it, but for some reason there, it's just like all these guns and stuff. That was fun. Yeah, if you're well armed, Galaga was the arcade game. Yes. Jennifer, favorite game to play. My game was Asteroids. Asteroids was cool. I get it. Asteroids was cool. And pretty sure everybody does. I don't know. This is back and forth here. Arcade games were okay, but pinball was the GOAT. Oh no, Emily. How are we going to raise the children? Pinball is not the GOAT. The arcade games are the GOAT. We've had this conversation before. Really? I guess we'll have to let them make their own decisions. All right. I live in South Carolina. Carrying a gun is like wearing pants. Oh, I live in a red state as well, and a lot of people carry guns. I don't know if it's as prevalent as it is in South Carolina, but it's common here. I feel safe. Meryl writes, I'm from El Paso, Texas, and we also are a desert place. Does Utah also get strong winds? Yeah, it does. As a matter of fact, there's a town just a little bit north of me called Hurricane. And that's how Hicks in southern Utah say hurricane. And we will know if you are actually from here or not from here by the way you pronounced hurricane. And the reason why they call it hurricane or hurricane is because the winds blow like big time. All right. Real badasses don't show what we carry. You can still carry, that is, I'm going to guess. All right. I always think of myself as a Midwestern in Florida. CC's was okay, not great. It was. I would probably agree with that. If I ever went to a CC's and ate, I probably wouldn't hate it, but it wouldn't be like the first thing I would go to. And Lance Chafin writes Molly Hatchet. Molly Hatchet. Yes, I remember that band. And Molly Ringworm. Fun. Skee ball was really fun. Could get aggravated though. I get it. Limbo. Not sure. Is that, the game Limbo? You miss playing that? Because we could play that all the time. And Lance Chafin writes the mall food courts. Those were good. I remember being able to go to the Julius Caesar, or no, the Orange Julius, not Julius Caesar, the Orange Julius, and all different kinds of stuff. Lance Chafin also writes, I don't miss New Coke. I know. I know. There are people who don't. Most people don't. That's why they brought back the old Coke, for sure. Jennifer writes, I don't remember it, just learned about it. Probably something up in the chat there. I bought my own school clothes with the money from my first job. That's awesome. That's awesome. I didn't ever really have to buy my school clothes. That's good. Emily writes, you're not stupid. I think what you're getting at is minimum wage hasn't increased with the cost of living, making things harder to purchase. Yes. Thank you for crystallizing that thought for me. And Tracy writes, your mom is a very beautiful lady, Ian. Yeah, she is. I love my mom so much. I do. I don't get to see. I've gotten to see her actually more since my wife passed away than I ever have, because her and my wife did not get along at all. And like the whole mother-in-law thing or whatever it is, it was really true in my world. But as I've been as I travel back many times now from Tennessee to here, I always stop by and see my mom. So she's just in my corner all the time. She loves me and I love her, and I'm definitely a mama's boy. But thank you so much for saying she's beautiful, because she is beautiful. I don't know, but I mean, it was a different game. I think it was just a different game, my friend. Danny writes, I was lucky I started selling pictures and posters at wrestling when I was 14 years old in 1979. I got paid on commission by sales. I made between 400 and $1,000 a night, 3 to 4 shows a week. That's awesome. That is awesome. Praise God for that. And Danny also writes, my dad hated me. I made 3 times more than him. I wouldn't hate anybody who made more. I always root for people. Like, one of my mottos is like, you can't, like, I'm on everybody's team. You can't disappoint me. Like, I will never be jealous of anybody because I want everybody to do as best as they possibly can. And I forgot about say Space Invaders, and Pac-Man was the best game. And Space Invaders, Queen here, awesome, awesome. And you're gonna have to actually tell me how to say this. Is it my flock? Is that what it is with that interesting symbol? I want to be able to pronounce your name correctly, so I'm just going to say my flock for now until I hear otherwise from you, and then from here on out, unless I forget, I will pronounce it correctly. Let's see. Now, Jennifer writes that pinball is awesome, and I do love pinball. It just wasn't the GOAT for me. I mean, by any, it was like if somebody paid for me, it's like restaurants for me. Like there are certain restaurants I won't go to unless you're paying. And if somebody else is paying, I will go anywhere you want to go. That's how much I love food. There are certain restaurants I won't go to, but if you're paying, so if somebody else is doing pinball or if it's a free game, I will play it, but I don't really play it that much. Defender. I remember Defender. Awesome game. Let's see. Oh, yes. Limbo. Let's see. Trying to look through some comments here. Lance Chafin writes, anyone remember Hostess pudding pies from Hostess. Sorry. Hostess. You all know how well I can read. I have dyslexia. Hostess pudding pies from, I remember the pies, Hostess pies, but my favorites were cherry and apple. I didn't really care for the pudding pies. The banana pudding wasn't that bad, but I was a cherry and apple person myself. I think they still have those. I miss office parties that were actually fun. LOL. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I mean, maybe you don't consider them fun these days. I haven't been to too many office parties in my day, but the ones that I've gone to have always been kind of cool. Let's see. Lance, my flock is Sarah, Ian. Okay. All right. Now I get it. Now I get that why people are saying Sarah. I kind of was catching on to that, but I didn't want to make any assumptions. And Emily writes, Jennifer, I won't admit to getting drunk at an office party, sleeping 2 hours and getting up and going to work still drunk the next day. I've been there. Actually, fairly recently, I've been there. And let's see. Jennifer writes, I won't admit it either. And Ian, I'm gonna try this again. I'm gonna try what again? What are you gonna try again? I don't know what you're gonna. I'm lost, my dear. I'm lost. I'm sorry. I don't get it. I'm gonna try this again. I miss my grandma and her cooking. Yes. L laughing my butt off. Oh, All righty, all righty, all righty. I'm a little slow. Everybody knows that I'm just a little bit slow, so I get it. Laughing my butt off. And I said limbo. I'm like adding vowels that aren't even there to the word. That's how stupid I am. Anyway, all right, folks. Well, we're if there's more comments or whatever, that's going to be great. We're gonna, I'll stay for a little bit longer. Unfortunately, we've had a little bit of a family tragedy, and that is my son-in-law's, like a friend of his died, and he's from Australia. And so they're going to be doing a live cast to Australia, and I've got to kind of cut it short, unfortunately. I feel bad about that, cutting it short, but because it's from Australia, he kind of needs the bandwidth, and they're live streaming the funeral, and so I kind of got to jump off here relatively soon. I know we do this for more like an hour and a half, depending on how many comments there are and how many things we get to listen to. But all right, so everybody listen, if you don't mind, let me I'm so excited. You'll never believe this. Don't leave yet, please. Nobody leave yet. Please push the like button, share it on your favorite social media. And I have some exciting kind of news. My video on Jason Bateman, like why Jason Bateman really left Silver Spoons, has gotten to 13,000 views. 13,000 views. Like every time I click on my email, that's the word I'm looking for. Every time I click on my email, like there's new comments on it. So I don't know if it's going viral or not, but maybe you want to share the Jason Bateman one again, because it seems to be exploding. Like it was when it came out like a year ago, it like exploded. Like it got like 5,000 views in no time at all. But now it's at 13,000 views. And I remember celebrating just a couple weeks ago with you all that I actually surpassed 1,000 subscribers. Finally, after like 3 years, I surpassed 1,000 subscribers. But at the time I was like at 1,010. Well, I've gone from 1,010 to 1,080. So I've gotten like 70 subscribers without doing anything at all. And so like I'm really excited. So maybe if we could all pull together and share the why Jason Bateman left, was the real reason Jason Bateman was fired from Silver Spoons. If y'all want to click that video on my channel and share it on your social media, maybe even ask your friends, that's great. I do plan on, I mean, I'm coming back. I mean, obviously you can see I'm coming, it's been a while, but I'm coming back. I'm kind of coming back in stages. I'm coming back slowly, but I've got some plans, and they're going to come to fruition really soon. So thank you very much. And I just want to thank everybody for this time and this opportunity. So please, by all means, help me out with that one. It's been great. I see people saying I need to check it out, and nice seeing you. Got to run. Tracy, see you later. Love you so much. Thank you so much for supporting me. And I know everybody's gotta go right now. Let's see. Yeah, I dropped your link in about 50 streams a week, and Pons always talks about you. I got to get Thrash Pondo back on here soon. The problem with not having Thrash Pondo on here these days is that I don't know when I'm going to be able to do these things, because I work a lot of nights. I had planned on doing one last night because of the Monday night live stream, but I ended up being called into work, and so I had to wait on that. So anyway, I just want to say I love you all so much. Thank you for your support. Thank you for making this an excellent night. Thank you for all your comments and everything. And I will talk to you all again very shortly. Good night. Love you all.